Once you find yourself in conflict with a narcissist, it's a virtual guarantee they're going to start playing head games with you. That's why I put together a new course. It's very extensive called Anger Games. I'm going to teach you how to manage anger and conflict with a narcissist. There's a link below that's going to show you how to register, and I hope that you find it to be very insightful. Through the years in my therapy office and then in talking with individuals beyond that, when I go to seminars or just talking to people in general that I know, I've spoken with so many individuals who will look back upon a relationship with a narcissist thinking, that relationship did not serve me well. It did not go well at all in terms of what I was expecting or what I might have hoped for. And it can be in a wide variety of circumstances. I mean, it can be an adult child looking back upon the way that they were parented and it was done in a very inappropriate kind of way. Or it may be that you have siblings who've turned out to be very difficult to deal with. It could be that you are living with someone or you're married to someone who's turned out to be anything but that, sweet and pleasant kind of an individual, or a work situation that may have been toxic, or organizations that may have been toxic. I mean, the possibilities are very broad and wide. And you get to the point to where you realize this is bringing out the worst in me. I don't know what to do, but I don't like what's happening. And by the way, there's certain signals that you can watch for that says that you're bonded to that narcissistic individual or system in such a way that's very harmful for you. You become extremely guarded and your defenses are way too strong. Your self-esteem has taken a beating. Your emotions feel out of sorts. You wind up arguing about all sorts of things that aren't going to get to a good resolution. And so when I would talk with these individuals, obviously a goal that I would have would be to take them away from the victim's mindset. And by the way, you are a victim, but you don't want to just remain perpetually in that mindset. And we want to go into a survivor's mindset. I'll let these individuals know you've become someone who has unhealthy reactions, and we want to turn that into your own healthy and wise initiations. That's what I refer to when I say we want to develop a survivor's mindset in the aftermath of having been with a narcissist. Now, in order for you to get to that place where you are truly a survivor and you're going to be capable of stepping into your own best version of who you are, we first have to ground our thinking in reality. There's a mindset, there's a term that I use, I call it mind over emotion. There are times when you have such raw emotion with that narcissist that it just takes over, but the mind needs to pull back and say, wait a minute, what are we looking at? What are we dealing with here? So I want to kind of walk you through some of the insights that you're going to need to hold on to as you develop that survivor's mindset. And the more truth-based, the more reality-based you are, then it sets you up to move forward in a healthy kind of way. For example, there are certain insights that you want to have relative to who that narcissist has become in your life. First, we want to recognize on many levels, the narcissist that you have been dealing with is a deeply troubled and disturbed person. Now, you already know that. That's not brand new news, but there are times when you can react in a way that implies, I can't believe this. Believe it. This is somebody who has lots of unresolved personal issues. They probably have a deep history of fearing rejection or having some form of feeling of unworthiness. Certainly their emotions are out of sorts, and they were never trained to manage their emotions very well. They have distorted reasoning. They don't have mind over emotion. They have emotion over mind, and as a result, they're not easy to engage with. Now, following right up on that, we can then say that as you see that they have all of this pathology they've been carrying for probably a long time, despite that, they become masters of rationalization. Isn't it amazing that when you attempt to sit down with that person and say, hey, there's something we need to discuss, we need to talk about certain things, they can flip it around and say, well, yeah, the problem is you, and I'm the good person in this equation. They don't listen to reasoning. They don't listen to any kind of input that might put them in a flattering kind of place. They just justify and they rationalize, and somehow whatever problems they have are caused by you. That's reality. That's your truth. And when you go in and say, well, I need to change that truth. No, that's your truth. And that's who they are. Now, adding to that then, we're going to say that that person who's very difficult and is not going to make any kind of hard adjustment probably has very, very low emotional intelligence. And when I say emotional intelligence, I'm talking about being able to see into the needs and the feelings and the perceptions that other individuals have and think, I need to factor that in. And I need to have an understanding of who I am and where I'm coming from and how that impacts me. But instead, as I mentioned, they have so much unfinished business on the inside of them that they can't approach life with that kind of rationale. They don't have high empathy because they don't even understand themselves well. How in the world are they going to understand you? You'll need to factor that in. That's who you're dealing with. Beyond that, we're also going to say part of your truth that you'll need to maintain as you go into your survivor mode is you're dealing with a runner. And when I say a runner, these people are running away from all sorts of problems they just don't want to address. They have a history of having felt shamed, and by that I mean they know that it's a judgmental world out there, and they're trying to figure out in their own way how to get away from being judged. These people may have some embarrassing things about who they are that they don't want you to tune into. They go into cover up. They go into secrecy. They won't talk with you about what their true history is. In other words, they're constantly running away from confronting the real self. They can't do that. They've constructed a false self, and they will just skedaddle, to use an old-fashioned word, whenever you say, let's talk about things that really matter. It's like, I run away from that. Narcissists, then, because of all of this, are going to have predictably unhealthy anger. You can see that with all of this disarray that they carry on the inside, they don't have peace to draw upon. In their mind, the world owes them, and they're thinking, I'm counting on you to conform to me so that I can finally go my way at least for a little while and feel okay. And as a result, naturally, whenever there's a conflict, you're just going to be on the receiving end of their vitriol, of their anger, their bitterness, their hurt. Much of it is displaced. Much of it is projected onto you. That's part of your reality. You have to factor that in. And then on top of that, part of the insight that you want to maintain is that you're dealing with someone whose strong defensiveness reveals that there's a heavy, heavy insecurity. When you and I differ, or when we just have separate preferences, etc., it's okay to say, let's sit down and talk about it. How hard is that? And to the narcissist, it's darn near impossible. It's like, I don't do that. I can't talk. I can't receive input. I just need to tell you what to do. And it's their own way of trying to make their world safe, when in fact all they're doing is they're blowing up any possibility of safeness even happening. Narcissists are far too invested in their own control agenda, and as a result, they simply can't sit down with you and say, I'd like to know who you are, and I'd like for you to feel the freedom to be what you are when you're in my presence. Control is a language that they have learned from other individuals. They felt controlled, and now they're going to be the one in control. So it's going to be very necessary as you try to have this survivor's mindset to say, I need to be reality-based in who I am and who this person is in front of me. That said, then, you'll need to individualize. This is a second primary thing. First is stay reality-based. And then second, knowing what you're dealing with, you're going to need to individualize your growth efforts. Assume that person is not going to go along with you. Let's keep in mind, based on my assumption of individualizing, narcissists gave up on honesty a long time ago. Narcissists have such a strong self-protection that it overrides common sense. Narcissists are schemers. They look for ways to manipulate you. Narcissism is itself a failed attempt at pain management. Narcissism is a breeding ground for phoniness. Narcissists have a very poor conception of love. They want admiration. Give that to me, but they don't love. Narcissism is grounded in egotism. Narcissism it assures a lack of self-awareness. Narcissism is built upon an attitude of entitlement. And as a result, it's like, okay, all of that being the case, I can't count on that person to be my safe person. As you individualize your mindset, it's like, well, then what do I believe is wisest and best? What traits do I want to have that are going to predominate in my lifestyle? What beliefs, what priorities am I going to emphasize? What kinds of people do I want to join with? And when that other individual, that narcissist says, I don't like who you are, can I just say, I realize that and move on, knowing that they have all this disarray? Are you going to be able to say, it's time for me to go ahead and take my reins and be who I need to be? And when the narcissist predictably brings their chaos to you, it's like, yes, I see that. I understand it. There's so much behind the scenes that represents. I can't afford to take my cues from you. I can't afford to say, hey, let's see if we can coordinate, because you can't coordinate with someone who's not reasonable. And you want to go ahead and make sure that you purge yourself of any similar characteristics that they bring toward you. In other words, you don't want them to be your role model and you imitate what they give to you. See the narcissist realistically, and then understand what you're dealing with, and then individualize your efforts to say, I need to prioritize what I know is wisest and best. And then when the narcissist continues to be, narcissistic, I'm not shocked. I'm going to drop that. And what I am going to do is I'm going to say, I refuse to be in that person's flunky position. I refuse to let that individual call the shots for me. I refuse to look to that individual to give me my own personal guidance. In good conscience, I'm going to go ahead and put my healthy initiatives forward. And when they can't go along with me, then it's like, yeah, but I'm a survivor. I'm not a reactor. And I'm going to take my own healthy initiatives. Now, I hope that's a mindset that you can anchor down on in a full kind of way. What we do here on this channel is we try to have as much of a sense of awareness as possible. So if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so. And I'm going to bring more videos in your directions so that you can know who you are and what you're dealing with. In addition, I know that there are times when you're dealing with something like this that you're thinking, I could use some help therapeutically. And I'm a therapist. I'm retired as a therapist, but I believe in it strongly. And I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their website. It can be so beneficial for you to have somebody, a therapist, that will say, I want to know who you are, and I want to understand you, and I want to see if you and I can figure out how we can bring out your best version of yourself. If you have the need, please go through the link and get the assistance that you need. Now, I'm retired from my therapy practice, but one of the things I've done is I put together some courses. And this is a result of many years of experience, of course, in interaction with individuals. And each course, it's like signing up for an online class. And so we have them available on our website, and below the video, we have links to all of that too. Each course has 25 or more videos with written handouts and documents and guided questions. We have my new one, which is called Anger Games. It's all about not getting sucked into the many ways that they can have anger toward you. I'm very pleased with that one. So look into that, as well as This Is Me, about your boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite their control, Ready, Set, Connect, having healthy connections. In addition, I also have my webinars that I presented. They're 90-minute presentations, quite different, and they're available on the website, along with access to my podcast, many articles, and then, of course, we have my book, so plenty of resources. Avail yourself to that. I'm hoping that you can move away from being just merely victimized by the narcissist. Yes, you have been, but I want you to be that survivor. That person that says, I'm the master of my own ship. I'm going to set my destiny and my course into something that's going to result in good things. And when the narcissist says, well, I just don't agree with you, it's like, yes, I realize that. That's who you are, but I'm going to be true to who I am. And in the process, I'm hoping that you can find your own personal steadiness away from where they are, and it leads you into a place of true peace.